Good morning. Today is April 14, 2016 here at Washington Family Church. And we're reading chapter 1, Home Church, on page 926. Section 3, the completion of Home Church. Number 1. Now is the time we must break down all barriers in God's providence. What should you do from now on? I cannot bequeath to you everything I have accomplished without a condition. I cannot bequeath it to you for nothing. I tell you, you have to fulfill your 5% portion of responsibility. I have set conditions of indemnity in more than 100 countries, and with a standard of heart I invested there. I have restored the connection between heaven and earth, which had been obstructed by a wall. Therefore, you also need to set indemnity conditions on a smaller scale that can represent the world. You yourself must establish here and now a foundation that can operate on its own, without the barriers that formerly obstructed heaven and earth. That foundation is Home Church. Number 2, what is it that you unification members should do? Although you cannot become world messiahs, you should at least become tribal messiahs. If you cannot become tribal messiahs, you should at least become John the Baptist. This is why I'm raising the matter of Home Church, for fallen people to go to the kingdom of heaven, should they all have suffered to the point of death, as I did. To restore the individual, family, and tribe, should they have to be persecuted all their lives and sacrifice themselves? Someone had to be the pioneer to pave that path. And it was I who did it. All you need to do is accomplish a course of indemnity by following the formula. Subtopic: the foundation for the kingdom of heaven on earth. Number 3, as God loves me, He also loves all people. Seeing them as His true descendants, God loves each person and wants to save everyone from the fallen world. We are meant to love humanity as God loves us. If we are people like that, we can receive God's greatest love. In the future, there will be no persecution. From the day Satan's persecution ceases, doing all this will be easy. How much has Satan obstructed me as an individual? He has been persecuting me to prevent me from making progress. But although he persecuted me, I drove him away and went forward. How much he persecuted me on the family level. He greatly opposed me on the tribal level as well. But I prevailed over him. You must have pride in inheriting all the victories I gained through these struggles. Your responsibility is to pursue the course of uniting the world by doing what I have done. I paid substantial indemnity, but all you need to do is pay conditional indemnity. The conditional indemnity you need to pay is Home Church activity. Number 4, how much do the spirits in the spirit world look forward to descending to the earth? Conscientious spirits, the spirits of people who were good during their earthly life, are longing to come down to the earth. In order to descend, they must do so through their descendants. This is how the home church system will develop. On the home church base, spirits from more than 120 nations whose background is, for instance, economics, will be freely able to work with an economist in the home church area. And the same will be true of spirits working in the home churches of scholars in other areas of expertise. That is why we absolutely need home church. Number 5, I pioneered the path of the Messiah on every level. The individual, family, tribe, nation, world, and cosmos. I have already laid all the foundations on the levels of the individual, family, tribe, and nation. While I was pioneering this path, Satan ruthlessly opposed my work. My life was one of facing continuous persecution, which I had to fight and prevail over. After World War II, if England, the United States, and France, the Eve nation, Abel nation, and Cain nation, respectively, has become one and united with me, I could have begun my work on the world level at that time. And if I had gone beyond the national level and been able to focus on the world, nations would have automatically reorganized. Suppose my work had started away after World War II, and I had been welcomed without persecution on the levels of the individual, family, people, nation, and world. Then, in the environment of a unified world, home church and tribal messiahship would have been established, and families would have been settled at a time revolving around God and true parents. Suppose at that time a family had appeared in which Cain and Abel were united around the mother. Then a nation would have been established that would have joined together tribes and peoples, connecting them to the world. Number 6, when we cross over into the new world, religion will disappear. Only home church will remain. Families will have true parents at the center. It will be a unified world, an ideal world that arises like a single tree. By means of the bonds of love, centered on the tradition of true parents, the world is connected like one tree. The spirit world is like the invisible world of nerve impulses, and the visible world is like the world of nerves and blood vessels are united harmoniously into a single organism. Our minds and bodies, which were in conflict, can be united. By the same token, the earthly world and the spirit world must also be completely united. Number 7, first of all, home church is the way for children to inherit the world level indemnity course of the true parents, who paid the indemnity in order to solve the failures of history. Second, home church is to indemnify the realm of the tribal Messiah lost at the time of Jesus. Thereby, it opens the way to the realm where we can be tribal messiahs and then go on to the national and world levels. You cannot go forward without indemnifying these two levels. To do so, you need to do home church activity. Without it, you cannot go to the kingdom of heaven. You have to shed blood and sweat for your home church. You have to shed tears and you have to experience mistreatment. Through these experiences, you must come to know about the efforts of the true parents have made. My hope is that in the future, the persecution will cease and people will want to learn the principle of the unification church. It is my desire not to live behind a path of suffering for the children who follow me. Number 8, the tribal messiahship at the time of Jesus was to become the indemnity conditions and lay the foundation to establish the authority of the true parents on the national, world, and cosmic levels. However, in this age, we are attending true parents standing on the foundation of their indemnity conditions. The purpose of home church is to indemnify the failures in Jesus' course. However, in order to fulfill your 5% portion of responsibility, now it is necessary to indemnify many things that went wrong before. How do you pay indemnity? It is by doing your home church activities. That is where you can work to set indemnity conditions on the level of the individual, family, tribe, people, and nation. Number 9, if we suffer throughout our lives, we cannot hold up our heads in front of heaven. Rather, we Unification Church members should be ever grateful for living in the same age as the true parents. We should shed tears of gratitude for having met them in our lifetime, even as you live a sanctified life to recover your original selves, and even as you maintain your loyalty in every way possible. You should not forget you are descendants of sinners who do not deserve to lift your heads in front of the parents. This is why you needed to cooperate with the parents on their course. Now that the parents have completed their work, it is your turn to fulfill your responsibility and work hard for home church activities. Number 10, starting from the home church leaders, if people continue witnessing from the first generation to the second and third, then 1,000, 2,000, many thousands of people will get involved in home church activities. As we do this, we are entering the age of registration and need to prepare a list. Yet we cannot draw it up any way we want. Those who did not do home church activities cannot be entered on the list. They cannot become part of the family tree of the heavenly kingdom. Even though they are blessed family members, they will be excluded from the list and their names will be removed from the registry. With this understanding, you must hurry to do everything heaven mandates. If you go to the spirit world without having done home church activity, you will have to work at it in the spirit world for eternity. It will be a huge problem if you go to spirit world without having taken care of your home church on earth. Therefore, during this time, you do not have even a moment to think about what to eat, what to wear, or where to sleep, knowing that what kind of miserable indemnity course will await you and what kind of path you will have to follow. You should indemnify everything during your lifetime. Number 11, your home church activities will begin at Gethsemane, from whence Jesus has taken to his trial, or was taken to his trial, and one step further on the peak of Golgotha. When Jesus died on Golgotha, there was hardly anyone who had compassion for him. Yet when you die, many people will have compassion for you. What a happy thing it will be to meet death with such a foundation and in such circumstances. You have the freedom in your current earthly circumstances to assemble a group of people who, when you face death, will not run away from you as Peter did, but who instead will say, I will die in your place. I think it is worth paying indemnity to establish this kind of historical tradition. Number 12, you have entered the age when, through true parents, you can be selected and installed as tribal messiahs. You are indemnifying the condition that Jesus tried to make to connect the families of Zechariah and Joseph, based on Judaism. You need to set this indemnity condition, because only then could he have inaugurated the position of the parent. Only then could he have gone beyond the nation and proceed to the world. Although Jesus died without establishing this foundation, we can indemnify it by the way of home church activity. Despite the opposition of Christianity, if you do home church, you will make the condition to inherit its foundation. Right there on your tribe, then you can connect that path to the people, the nation, and the world. We have only a few minutes on my recording here. Tomorrow we'll be reading about offerings to establish a global foundation on page 933. And my name is Athanasius Francis C.Catalan. I'm reading this Hoon dok hae for the good of all my tribe, my nation, and America, and this world. And visit our www.familyfed.org and have a great and wonderful day, Thursday. Thank you for listening. Manse Manse.